Hello students, welcome to Lucky Learning. Here in this video, I am going to explain you why database system is preferable over the file system. In your semester exams, it can be asked also as explain database system versus file system. Listen to this video very carefully. After listening to that, I recommend you download this PDF and which is available in the description and read once so that it will become very easy for your semester exams. First, we'll understand what problems are there with the file system, and second, I will explain you how those problems are resolved in the database system. To understand the need of database system, first we'll consider some motivating scenario, assuming a company having large collections of, let us say, 500 GB of data of employees, departments, products, sales, and so on. And moreover, the data is going to be accessed concurrently by several employees. Means multiple employees can access the data simultaneously. And whatever the questions about the data must be answered very quickly. It means, suppose I wanted all employee details of a particular department. I wanted the answer very quickly. And changes made to the data by different users must be applied consistently because many people are accessing the same data and many people simultaneously updating the data, and all updates should become correct. That is also called consistent. And moreover, access to certain parts of data must be restricted. Suppose employee 1 is there and he wants to check his leave status, then the only leave status part of the data should be shown to that particular employee. Suppose another employee wants to check their salary, so system should show only that salary part of the data, not all parts of the data. Suppose accountant is there, accountant can access all the salaries of all the employees data. Means every user can have certain parts of data to be accessed, not all the parts of the data. These are the requirements for the system. Now, if this kind of system to be developed, and we can go with a database management system, but assuming the data management is done using operating system files instead of database management system. And we will see what are the drawbacks that operating system files will have. We call file system will have. Now we'll discuss all these problems one by one. First one, we probably do not have 500 GB of main memory because totally in one file is of size 500 GB, and generally 500 GB of main memory not possible and not there, not available to hold all the data. So what we can do, we must therefore store data in a storage device such as disk or tape, and bringing only relevant parts into the main memory for processing as needed. This will definitely slow down the processing time. So means if any user make a request, it will take more time. That is a problem with the file system. Assuming even if we have 500 GB of main memory, assuming main memory is there, 500 GB main memory is there. So that total file can be loaded into the main memory 180 times. But on a computer system with 32-bit addressing, we cannot refer directly to more than 4 GB of data. Actually, 32 bits addressing will be used to have how many address spaces, 2 power 32 address spaces. That is equals to 4 GB. Means 2 power 32. We also write 2 power 2 into 2 power 30, and 2 power 30 is called 1 GB, and 2 power 2 is 4. We can call 4 GB of data. So means using this processing capability, we can refer only 4 GB of data at a time, right? We have to program some method of identifying all data items one at a time. And there is a second problem. Third problem, we have to write some special programs to answer each question that users may want to ask about the data. So the point is, suppose I wanted all the employees of salary above 1 lakh. For this, either we can check it manually or else we write some program to verify the employees whose salary is above 1 lakh. Some program it is required. And but these programs are likely to be complex, and because of the large volume of data to be searched. And the fourth problem, we must protect the data from inconsistent changes. Inconsistent changes means incorrect changes made by different users accessing the data concurrently. Suppose user 1 updating the data A from 10 to 20, and user 2 also updating data from 10 to 30. So which one is updating first? That is also makes the status of the data system. But how they are updating, suppose plus 10 added by user 1 plus 10 added by user 2. So both user 1 and user 2, if add plus 10 to A, it should become 30. Means it is correct. But what happens, suppose user 1 read 10 and user 2 read 10, and both of them added plus 10, so that both of them updated 20 only, means it causes a loss of 20. So that causes inconsistent change, that causes incorrect states. So the file system should protect data from inconsistent changes made by the different users accessing the data concurrently. If programs that access the data are written with such concurrent access in mind, this adds greatly to their complexity. Means writing such kind of programs is very, very difficult on the file system. And the fifth point is we must ensure that data is restored to a consistent state, means restored to correct state when if any system crashes happens while the changes are being made. Suppose while the user making some changes and system is crashed, then system if crashes, the system should be restored to the consistent state. Means your file should be restored to the consistent state. But doing this is very difficult in the file system. That is not possible. And sixth point, operating system provides only a password protection mechanism for security. But this is not sufficiently flexible to enforce security policies, in which different users have permissions to access different subsets of the data. Let us say, example, employee 1 has a permission to access only his account details, so in the entire database. And employee 2 can access only his account details among the entire database. Means each user having access to only subsets of the data, not the entire data. But in a file system, this kind of privileges is not possible to be given, and file system provides only password mechanism for security, but users will have some limitations to access only some parts of the data is not possible. So it so these are the reasons which are prompted to develop a database system. Now what is DBMS? A DBMS is a piece of software that is designed to make these preceding tasks easier. Means whatever the problems have told, and these problems, it is designed in such a way that these problems are easy, means easily maintained. By storing data in a DBMS rather than in a collection of operating system files, we can use the DBMS's features to manage the data in a robust and efficient manner. Now we will understand what are the advantages. By keeping in mind those problems, now I will be explaining you advantages. What are the advantages of DBMS? Using DBMS to manage data has many advantages. First thing, data independence. Application programs should be as independent as possible from details of data representation and storage. The DBMS can provide an abstract view of the data to insulate application code from such details. And the second point, efficient data access. But if it is to access data from the file system, we must write programs, and programs has to process different files of different capacities that are difficult. But when in the case of database system, a database system uses some sophisticated techniques to store and retrieve data efficiently. That sophisticated techniques are called query languages. So means instead of writing the programs, we can use simple query language features like a command. We can retrieve the data efficiently. And the third advantage is data integrity and security. In a file system, security is provided only by using password mechanism, and parts of the data accessing by the concurrent people cannot be restricted. But this is easily possible in the database management system. So means if data is always accessed through the DBMS, the DBMS can enforce some integrity constraints on the data. For example, before inserting salary information for an employee, the DBMS can check that the department budget is not exceeded. Suppose budget is something around 4 lakhs, but employee salary is 5 lakhs. It should not be allowed because department budget itself is 4 lakhs, employee salary is 5 lakhs. It should not be allowed. So how it can be checked in the file system? That checking is not there in the file system, but the checking is possible in the database system. That is called integrity checkings. And also DBMS can enforce access controls that govern what data is visible to different classes of users. Suppose employee 1 want to access only his account details, that access privileges can be provided by the DBMS so that that employee 1 can access only his account details, not the other employee account details. That is very easy in database system, difficult in the file system. Now the fourth reason, data administration. When several users share the data, centralizing the administration of data can offer significant improvements. And experienced professionals who understand the nature of the data being managed and how different groups of users use it can be responsible for organizing the data representation to minimize redundancy. Redundancy means duplicate storage of the data, and for fine tuning the storage of the data to make retrieval efficient. So efficient data administration techniques are there in the DBMS so that it can avoid the redundancy, so that managing the data becomes very easy. And the fifth reason, concurrent access and crash recovery. A DBMS schedules concurrent accesses. So means if multiple users are accessing the data simultaneously, in a database system, we have a different mechanisms like concurrency control manager, which is going to control the concurrent access to the data in such a manner that users can think of the data as being accessed by only one users. So means it appears to each user that his transaction only is executing. But actually speaking, multiple transactions are going to be executed, right? So that further DBMS protects users from the effects of system failures. Even if a system failure occurs, database can go into correct state. Means if any crash occurs, that crash can be recovered and system can be restored to the previous correct state. But that is not possible in a file system. And the sixth point, reduced application development. Clearly, DBMS supports many important functions that are common to many applications accessing data stored in the DBMS. This, in conjunction with high-level interfaces to the data, facilitates quick development of applications. Such applications are also likely to be more robust than applications developed from the scratch because many important tasks are handled by the DBMS instead of being implemented by the application. So it means many things that is to be handled by the DBMS, like when a transaction is executing. Its management is responsibility of the database system. If a crash occurs, recovery is responsibility of the database system. So that separate applications are not required to concurrent executions or for transaction management or for recovery management. Separate programs are not required. That are all taken care by the database management systems. So finally, we conclude that these are the benefits and many other prompted the development of database system.